Welcome to the 757 Spy Flight over on YouTube. Welcome to Cologne, Bonn in Germany. We are in cargo land right now, and this is the TFDi MD11, one of my favorite cargo airplanes too. We're flying a Lufthansa cargo flight today, and this airplane is getting better and better. It's gotten a couple of updates lately, so it's time for a new video, but let's also spend a little bit of time on ATC and where you find the CPDLC stuff with this. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Dave. I do the Spy Flight over on Twitch, and every now and then I like to come on over here to YouTube, and what I like to do is what I call a complete cold and dark video. I think probably have had too much coffee this morning, but I'm really excited about this airplane. It's an awful lot of fun. It's sadly in the real world being retired out, but here in the sim world, it is an awful lot of fun. Just doing some initial flight planning on this one. We're going to basically take this from Cologne over to Gatwick. So let's just hop right on in and get to doing that flying thing, okay? So here we are at good old Cologne, Bonn, Germany. This is a huge cargo terminal right now, and we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the airplane, and we got to come over here, and that's a nice picture there, and there we go. Okay, first step in this airplane is the electronic flight bag, okay? And this is what you have to do to open up doors and everything else. And the first thing that I'm going to do is import the flight plan. Okay, the flight plan is in kilograms. That's what they do with this airplane. Let's go to services. And what we'll do is we're going to open up the passenger 1R door, and we're going to open up the big cargo door. And you might wonder why I'm opening up this side. I've seen some of the Lufthansa cargo videos over right here on YouTube, and at a number of places they actually had people the pilots getting on board this side so they could keep this side clear of, you know, those pesky little humans while they're shoving all that cargo around. So that's kind of what we got going on, and so that's why it's over here. Hopefully, one of the things I'd like to see them do is maybe add some stairs to this. It's a silly immersion thing, but that would be kind of a nice thing to do. Ground power is plugged in, wheel chocks plugged in, everything else is pretty much set here. I'm going to go over to the payload page, and I'm going to click this over to 0 fuel weight. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is come on over to dispatch, and what we'll do is get ready to start downloading stuff from SimBrief. So let's come on up here. A couple of quick checks. We're going to make sure that all of our controls are set, and I'm just lifting up the let's see, parking brakes are off. That's good. We've got all of those. Speed brakes are down. Parking brakes are off. Oh, by the way, there's a change in the parking brakes. I'll show you that in just a sec. And over here, the landing gear lever is down. And with that, we can go ahead and start turning power on the airplane. The real-world pilots are probably going to come aboard, and they'll find the battery turned on. They'll probably see ground power has been turned on. And we also just heard from the voice of the airplane. Betty is here, too. We're going to go ahead and arm emergency power. And then come on down here, and we're going to do nav lights. Nav lights are on. No smoking goes to auto. Emergency exit lights go to arm. And we come up here, and I usually turn the backlighting up to about half. And if it's going to get dark, the inner knob here, the inner dial here, that thing is basically floodlights. I don't think we're going to need floodlights on this one. But we're also going to come down here, and we're going to turn the floodlight, the backlighting up here on the flight guidance control panel, and we'll turn off the master caution, because like most jetliners, whenever you turn on a power switch, there's master cautions all over the place. Okay, so everything's looking really good here. Now I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to come down here, and we're going to send the flight plan to the FMC, and over your collector name and number, which they put up there, the flight plan will show up as sent. Now let's go ahead and set payload and fuel. And even that says that it's been sent. So technically the airplane's fueled, it's ready to go. All you got to do is go over and hit the payload button and check your 0 fuel weight. Mine says 190.2. So we're going to look over here on the PDF flight plan, and it's 190.2. So that's good confirmation that you've got the correct flight plan loaded, the correct weight and balance is set in the airplane, and now we get to go and start doing airplane things. So the first step in the process for me is to come down here to the menu, FMC1, and I'm going to check my navigation data. It's good till August 7th, so the current nav cycle is great. Let's go to flight plan init, And you can see EDDK to EGKK. We're all set and ready to go there. So we're going to come back up here and we're going to turn on the, we're going to go and do the navigation system, nav 1, 2, and auxiliary. When you hit nav 1 though, watch the cargo fire panel. There's a lot of automation in the airplane, so when you turn on nav 1, it also does your cargo fire test for you. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and do nav 2, and then we're going to do the auxiliary nav. All three go up to nav, and with that we'll come down here and you see that this has changed. Initialize IRS. Click it. That's the thing that I forget all the time. And if you forget it, it's 8 minutes of sitting down and waiting for the airplane to initialize the IRSs. So I try not to forget that, but every now and then over on the spy flight, I do. So very embarrassing and a little annoying too. EGCC Manchester is going to be our alternate. EGCC. We'll plug in the alternate. We're flying as Lufthansa Cargo, so that's GEC, German Cargo, and flight 441. And that looks good too. Our cruise level. Okay, so now let's go and figure out, let's go and get our clearance. So we're on the ground here. Let's come on over here and let's see what we got. EDDK ATIS, information echo. And if we look at delivery, they say, let's see, Cologne, Bonn, PDC data link, EDDK. That means they're using CPDLC. Yay! This is going to be fun, I hope. Okay, so come on over here, and we can go ahead and do this over on the co-pilot side, I think. So FMC2, all of this looks good. It's basically the same thing. So now we're going to go back to the menu, but now we're going to do ACARS, okay? And then we're going to do pre-flight, okay? And we're going to do depart clicks or departure clearance. All right, and it's already put our flight number in, GEC 441. We're our facility. We are at EDKK. So EDKK, EDDK, 2 Ds, right? Yeah, 2 Ds and a K. Okay, and how do I know that? I looked over here and I clicked on clearance delivery. So click on the delivery name here, and that's where it said PDC data link is EDDK. That's how I knew where to find that, okay? Let's take some mystery out of it. We are at gate Echo 23. How do I know that? I looked over here, Echo 23, on my ground chart. Also, I bet you could look up here. Well, there isn't a sign up there. Maybe there's a sign back here. It's painted over there, so that's good. Okay, so that's how we know where we're going to go on that. Okay, that's good. So let's come back down here. So we know that we are at gate Echo 23. So E23, hang on. You got to actually put the EDDK up in the facility box. There we go. Okay, now Echo 23, and we put that in gate. Next thing to do is come back over here, double click on the ATIS, EDDK. That way you know you've got the latest ATIS, and it is information echo. So information echo goes here. And at that point in time, you would think, okay, I could send it, right? No, there's something you have to do. You have to verify your origin. So just click it. It's auto-filled it, but you have to click it. See how it got bigger? You have to verify your destination, and you have to verify your aircraft type. Now all of a sudden it says send. Cool, let's hit send. Okay, and that's it. It's on its way. So with that being said, we're going to return. And now we're going to come up here and let's go and do the hydraulic pressure test while we're waiting. So hydraulic pressure test, we'll come down here, hit the hydraulic button, and then come on over here. And you'll see that it does say hydraulic pressure test, and what it's going to do is totally pressurize all three of your hydraulic systems. And so that's a good thing to do with that. Next thing for us to do is generally we get our cruise altitude on a flight like this, which was flight level 320 according to the flight plan. So we're going to pop that in, 32,000 feet, cruise. Oh, message. Look at that. It says message. And let's look over here. It says ATC message. So you would think, let's go over to received messages and ATC received. Wrong. How about miscellaneous message? Wrong. This is one of the most unintuitive things in the world. You want to know where to find this? Okay, I had to write it down. And if you want, look over down in the flight notes. You'll see my flight strip. You'll see I've written it down for you too. So I suggest copying it on this airplane. All right, so you hit reference. Oh, wow, look at all this stuff. Next step, you're going to hit ATC COM. Okay, next step, ATC index. And then we're going to go to the log. And there's your clearance. Okay, where does that go? It's crazy deep in this. So let's go and click this side. And this was me. My clearance is received. Request is being processed. Stand by. Okay. Although this is a cockpit and generally the pilots sit by, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. And here we go with our clearance. And there's our clearance. Now, the best thing I can suggest is grab your flight notes over here. And so my flight notes are, hang on, it's being a bit of a brat. Okay, flight notes. And I haven't had a chance to complete these, so these are a little different for you, but this will work for us for now. What's different in the description is the complete version. Okay, so let's go ahead and say we are cleared to Gatwick off of runway 31 right. Verify that. Via the Novo to Romeo. Novo to Romeo. Cool. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. 5,000 feet. Let's put that in there. Squawk is 2035. 2035. And our next frequency is 121.855. So I have a thing here called departure frequency, 121.855. I'm going to do a little dash over here. One of the things that they do in Germany is after you take off in the EDDS, they're going to tell you after you take off, they're going to give you a frequency. So Bonn automated weather renamed, expect ILS runways, blah, 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 visibility, clouds, view, temperature, altimeter, trend, attention, departure frequency for all departing aircraft is Unicom, 122.8. So after you take off, they give you your next frequency in there, 122.800. So I'm going to put that in my little string of notes too. And 121.855, there's our clearance. Now then, after you do that, you need to go to the next page and you have to accept it. Accept it and send it. There you go. We've responded. All is right with the world. So that is one of the weird things about this old airplane that you got to do. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there for now. Let's come back over here and let's start doing some numbers for the airplane. First of all, our zero fuel weight, which we verified, is 190.2. So 190.2. That goes in your zero fuel weight, the one in the middle. Okay. Other numbers that you can get off the flight plan, you can get your taxi fuel. So the amount of fuel is for taxi. Uh-oh, I hear bells. What is going on here? Let's come back over here. It says ATC message. Let's go to log. And, oh, we got a new message. What did they say? Oh, our clearance has been confirmed. See, so we're all good to go. How about that? Let's go back to the log page there. So that just means our clearance has been confirmed. Okay, back to this. So our taxi fuel is 1.58. 1.58 is taxi fuel. And let's see, our route reserve is 2.23. Uh-oh, out of range. Oh, okay, so you've got to do your block fuel first. So let's come over here first and see, did the lights go out? Okay, the hydraulic test has been completed. So let's go to the engine page. And the engine page is going to tell us that we have 21.050 kilos of fuel and 21.046. This says 21.05. That's close enough. So 21.05 is what we'll put in for block fuel. 21.05. Got to do your block fuel. Then you could do route reserve. Route reserve is contingency, the 15 minutes, which is 2.2. Out of range. Okay, maybe I have to do final time first. That's 3.1. There we go. Alternate fuel is 5.9. That's not allowed. How about route reserve? 2.23. We'll try it again. Out of range. Doesn't like me. Okay, fine. Be that way. We're just not going to bother with that. Let's just go ahead and do our zero fuel weight center of gravity, takeoff center of gravity. That's about the best we're going to be able to do with that. So none of these are going to work today, and I'm good with that today. You have to, there's still a few things that are missing in the airplane. So, and then our final refueling number is just your block fuel again, 21.05, and that goes there. Now we can go to the flight plan and plug it in. EDDK, SID, and according to the flight plan, we're going to be departing off of 3-1 right. So next page, 3-1 right. It's the Norvo 2 Romeo, NVO 2R. There's NVO 2R. That's going to be good. No transition, so we're good to go there. And there's our departure. And all of this looks good. Let's go down to the bottom, look for anything weird. Now the real pilots, they're gonna verify every waypoint on their flight plan. Sim pilots tend to just go to the bottom here and plug in our arrival, which should be ILS to 26 left. ILS 26 left. We're coming in on the TEBRA to Gulf arrival. So TEBRA to Gulf. There are a number of transitions in this arrival into Gatwick. We're not doing any of those. TEBRA to Gulf, and we're basically coming in via Timba. I looked at the chart. That's the only reason that I know this in advance. One of the things I like to do is I like to, when it's time to do what I call build up my stack of charts, that's all the charts that I'm going to need down here in SimBrief, that's the time to look at them. That's the time to look at the Norvo departure. I knew it was going to be an initial climb clearance of 5,000 feet because it said so right there. And then as we look here, we come in at TEBRA and we come out at Timba. And then if you look at, there's an initial approach here to the ILS. So there is our initial for Timba. 26 left. There it is right in there. I actually forgot one. So we need to come back over here to good old Gatwick and get... That's the initial, and then we also needed the final approach page, and we got that now. Okay, so we've got that. Cool. But I usually like to, and there is an option in Navigraph for you to go ahead and have all of your charts auto-populate. I don't use that because I want to look at my charts. That's the perfect time to review them as you build them up. Okay, let's do the fire check. Hold down the emergency button here. And you can hear Betty doing fire. Betty says fire. Look down here. So I haven't released my mouse button, but you can change your views. And you can see everything there. And that looks good. And so you can actually look through the whole thing while Betty is doing that. Let's go and hit the APU power button. That's going to start up the old APU here as we get ready to finalize everything in here. Coming on over for takeoff and approach. Let's get going. And we're going to come on over to the services page. We're going to close the cargo door. We're going to close the 1R door. So our doors are closing. And there goes the big cargo door 2. We're almost out of here. Okay, so with all of that, cargo door is moving. I'm going to leave the GPU connected a little longer. Wheel chocks remain in. And now we're going to do departure performance. So EDDK, Cologne, Bonn, we're going to be departing off of runway 31 right. So let's come on, zoom in here. It already pre-filled in the airport. We're looking for runway 31 right. Okay, that's the right one. Yeah, 31 right. Always good to verify these things. 31 right. It's going to automatically put the runway length in meters in. The real pilots are going to check that number, by the way, with the chart. Let's go ahead and get weather information. The altimeter is 1009. Let's go and put that in right now. Change to hectopascals. 1009. That looks pretty good. And we can come down here, and I think it sets the backup for us here. Hectopascals, 1009. It set that for us too. Okay, the next thing to do is the real pilots are going to verify the takeoff weight. We're going to do a flex takeoff. ICE is not interest needed. Let's get takeoff weight. There it is. That looks pretty close to what's on the flight plan. No specific flaps. Let's now calculate. And it's going to sit and think and crunch numbers. And we're going to take off with a flex temperature of 59 degrees and flaps of 25. So 59 degrees goes in flex. Flap setting is 25. And that goes there. Before you forget, slide on over here and set your dial-a-flap number. So flaps are going to be 25. And it does take kind of a while to crank this up using your mouse wheel on this, but it's really pretty simple. So flaps 25. Where's flaps 25? Come on. Oops. There is flaps 25. Always good to preset that before you forget. And let's see here. Now for slope, it's right here for runway 31 right. The slope is plus 0.6. So come down here, plus 0.6, and do the little slash mark. Come back up here, and what we're going to do is get, after slope, it's going to be the wind component. And it's a headwind of 12 knots, so plus 12 goes in here for your wind. Plus 12, down the runway, and click. Next thing is to come over here and get the outside air temperature. It's 26 degrees. So we're going to go 26 degrees, but do the C for Celsius. Otherwise, it's going to yell at you. And now we've got speeds for takeoff, 133, 146, 158. And you could also verify they're the same here. Oh, this is 139, 146, and 158. Relatively close. So we'll go ahead and do those. Okay, that looks great. We do have an initial climb clearance of 5,000 feet. Let's go ahead and set 5,000 feet in here. And there's our initial climb clearance. Our departure heading on the runway from the chart says 314 degrees. So let's dial this down to 314 degrees. A little too much, 314. Good, that looks good too. And this is good. Everything looks like it's clear here, so that's good news. We're not going to mess with that for a while. We did get a squawk code, and our squawk code is going to be 2045. 2045. And I'm going to just go ahead and start squawking now. So we're going to click this to transponder, but you also have to do altitude reporting so that you could squawk mode Charlie on taxiways. Otherwise, they can't see you. And with all of that, let's go ahead and we're going to get pushback helper, and we're going to call the tug. Pushback helper is my fast, easy way to push the airplane back. Now then, for parking brakes. On this airplane, you need to come over here, and you see my toe brakes? Push them in. Do the throw the white lever. That's how you do parking brakes in this old thing. And with all of that, we're going to come back to services. I'm going to disconnect. Let's not disconnect the GPU. Let's come on up here, and the APU is on. External power can go off. I'm also going to go ahead and let's turn on the APU bleed. Oh my gosh, you can hear the fans are blowing through air through the ducts and everything. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to disconnect ground power. I'm going to remove my wheel chocks, and now I'm just going to put this over on the dispatch page. It does have Navigraph maps in there. The Navigraph maps aren't that great in this airplane right now, so that's why I'm using the Charts app. Our first frequency is 121.855, so I do use the Logitech radio panel, 121.855. Let's get on frequency, turn on the radio, make sure we hear somebody. That looks really good. And we're squawking. Now then, there are also some checklists you can go and get online. Just do a Google search for MD11 space checklist space PDF. You'll find it. So gear pins and pedostatic checked and removed. Cabin signs. You can actually have a couple of people flying back with you. Cabin signs going on. And flight control panel is pretty much set. Speed band is set to taxi with V speeds in it. We've verified the fuel. The SD status and system modes are auto. The takeoff date has been inserted. Let's see. Auto brake goes to takeoff. The takeoff warning check. Let's check in with Betty. Hey, Betty, how's everything going?
Stabilizer. Flap.
Okay, so we still got some things to do, but the takeoff warning's been checked. Flaps are set to takeoff, and all is right with the world there. At this point in time, it's probably okay to go ahead and say, let's see what we got. We got delivery 121.855. We're set to 121.855. I don't hear anybody on the radio right now. I usually like to wait before I just start blasting away, but I think this is good. So let's go ahead and say something nice. I do like to think about what I'm going to say before I'm going to just start yapping on the radio. Cologne delivery, hello from Lufthansa Cargo 441 on MD11 at gate Echo 23. Information Echo is aboard. We got our clearance via CPDLC requesting pushback and startup.
Lufthansa Cargo 411, squawk 2035, please.
2035, thank you for Lufthansa Cargo 441. I don't know how to put in numbers. Yep, says 20. No, I typed it in wrong from the clearance. I typed it wrong from the clearance. Let's see here. Let's look and see. Do I not know how to type? Probably. Squawk. 2035. Yep, have no idea how to type. I'm bad at that. 2035. And we are squawking, right? We should be. And 2035. It's on transponder. Yeah, it's on transponder and it's on. Okay, so that looks good too. We're connected. Chocks are pulled. Oh, look at that. We got somebody with the nice new livery over there. Lots of MD11s.
Delivery, hello, Lufthansa 3, Alpha Mike, with information Foxtrot request FR clearance to Stuttgart.
Lufthansa Alpha Mike, currently delivery, good, call you back. Lufthansa Cargo 411, startup is approved, contact ground 121730, bye-bye.
121730 for ground, thank you so much. Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Lufthansa 3, Alpha Mike,
121.
Information Foxtrot current, cleared Stuttgart. Kumik 1 Romeo departure, flight plan route, climb fast at 5,000 feet, score.
Okay, there we go. Information Foxtrot is aboard. Cologne ground, hello from Lufthansa Cargo 441 at stand Echo 23 with information Foxtrot requesting pushback.
Hello Lufthansa Cargo 441, your pushback is approved, face southeast.
Facing southeast, push proof for Lufthansa Cargo 441. Okay, so the beacon is now going on. This airplane's going to start moving. Now, to release the parking brakes, you push your toe brakes, and that's what releases your parking brakes. And out we go. So that's kind of a change there. And away we go. Let's come on over here and start up an engine. Starting engine number 3. It doesn't work because we need to go and turn on the auxiliary and the ignition. Now I bet it works. Let's see what happens this time. There it goes. Boy, missing all sorts of stuff. Perhaps I haven't had enough coffee. Okay, 17% is what we're looking at over here. And as we continue, let's go ahead and start making a right turn. And we're looking for 17% here. There's 17% fuel. Whoops. And there's our push going back. And maybe we'll straighten it out a little bit. I could have gone back a little bit further. And engine startup sounds on these have gotten a little bit better too, both outside the airplane and inside the airplane. And here's our nice little turnaround here. Keep going. So this isn't quite as automatic as GSX, but it's a little bit easier on the frames for me, on frame rates and all, so that's why I'm using this. Plus, this works really, really fast. I mean really fast. Toe brakes, parking brake, release the tug, and we got a good start on engine number 1. Let's start on 3. Now we're going to do engine 1. The start sequence is 3, 1, and 2. Same as before, looking up here, N2 goes up 17%. The real pilots are also going to keep a close eye on the oil numbers here and the vibration. Make sure nothing bad happens there. 15, 16, 17, and fuel. And we'll look outside, and our tug is driving away, so we'll go ahead and get rid of pushback helper with our thanks. And I forgot to do the before start checklist. It says right there, engine ignition. Couldn't get it done. And there goes a nice engine there, looking really good. And we're looking for about 25%. Okay, you heard the click. I think after the click, if you wanted to, you go ahead and you start your next engine here in Flight Sim. I think that the real world pilots, though, they're going to look to make sure that this engine's a nice, stable start before they start on another one. 17%. And the 17% I got from watching the Lufthansa cargo videos right here on YouTube. They were featuring Lufthansa cargo. I think it was one of those cockpit videos series that's really nice. And there goes the big old engine up in the tail. Misconception about this, that this is a different engine. It's the same engine as the ones on the wings. It's just got a big old long tube for the air to come in. So it's not some special engine that's up in the tail. And looks like we're getting a good start there. Looks good. Let's see. Stabilizer trim is 5.4. So 5.4 is stabilizer trim. It's right up here at the top. Really good idea to set your stabilizer trim before takeoff in any of these airplanes. It's going to make your takeoff so much nicer. And we got 3 good starts, so we're going to go ahead and hit the APU air, and it will shut down the APU for us right there. And that's essentially the after start checklist. Next things that we could do, we could go and get flaps out. There's leading edge slats, and there's flaps 25. Let's also arm the speed brakes. Looking good there. And let's go ahead, and now I'm going to bring my notes over here so I could write it all down. Cologne ground, hello again from Lufthansa Cargo 441, pushed and started from Echo 23, requesting taxi.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, runway 31 right, taxiway Alpha, hold short of runway 24.
Runway 31 right, and we're going to be going via Alpha, but we will hold short of runway 24, Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Yes, sir.
Shall we go? All right. Taxi lights going on. Taxi lights are going on. Parking, everything's good here. Parking brakes going off, so touch the toe brakes. Generally what you'll do is all 3 throttles are going to go up until you start rolling. And then once you get rolling pretty good, after that, you'll go ahead and do the wing engines to idle. And taxi with the center engine.
The cargo 4785, Echo 41 for position start.
There we go. And looking good.
Hello, stand by 1 second.
Add just a little bit more oomph to this, and we can start working on our before takeoff checklist. Flight controls. To do that, we're going to come over to the config.
4785, give way to a company MD11, passing behind right to left, behind the traffic, your pushback, and startup is approved, face southeast.
And looking good.
Thank you very much.
I'm not going to do rudders because we're taxiing right now. Oh my gosh. So I've got a little problem here with my nose wheel steering tiller, and it goes really crazy on me. So I'm hoping to buy the WinWing sometime soon. Okay, so flight controls are checked and about as good as they can be, but yeah, the nose wheel is still a mess. Flaps are set.
5 negative, face southeast.
Spoilers are armed. Trim is set. And the EAD box.
Cargo 441, contact tower
That's
on
these.
124.980. Enjoy your flight. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Over to tower 124980. Thank you. Have a great Sunday. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
124980. 980. One, 2, 4, 9, 8, 0. Good. All right. All of this is looking good. All of that's looking good. And the before takeoff checklist is good. So as we get a little bit closer to the runway, we'll go ahead and give them a call. Absolutely amazing airplanes. These were really big airplanes. Sadly, they're getting really old, so they're being retired pretty quick. Let's also, another cool thing to do is just hit that EDDK ATIS. Make sure they haven't changed it. It's still information Foxtrot. Cologne Tower, hello from Lufthansa Cargo 441. We're the MD11 over on Alpha with information Foxtrot.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, Cologne, Bonn, Tower, hello. Taxi to holding point runway 3 in 1 right, cross runway 24, all intersections approved.
Cross runway 24, all intersections are approved. Continue to taxi to runway 31 right. Lufthansa Cargo 441. Now I'm going to add a little bit of oomph to the power here so I don't waste too much time on their taxiway, especially crossing the runway, because it appears to be active. So I don't want to cause a problem there. The developer of this airplane, TFDi, continues to release really nice updates for it, so it's really working good. Okay, so far so good here. As we cross, I'm going to go and idle my wing engines here. And now we're going to come over and I'm going to hit the auto flight button once. I'm going to hit profile, nav, and FMS speed. Just once. That arms everything and gets it ready to go. As we continue to taxi out, we're going to do traffic, data, and airports. That's good too. And now we're going to go ahead and idle the main engines, the one in the rudder. So we're just going to kind of coast here. Once you get a good clip of this going, works pretty good. Let's come on up here, and I'm going to do one click of the landing lights. They're not on, but on this airplane, if you look carefully under the door, the landing lights have popped out the sides of the airplane, out of the fuselage. So that's where the landing lights here, and they're already ready to go too. So if we get a cleared for takeoff and everything, it's going to be, we're ready to go, and that's pretty cool. Let's see, let's also make the map a touch bigger here, shall we? There we go. So that's on the 5-mile range going out. TCAS is on standby. Let's just go ahead.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, wind 320 degrees, 1 2 knots, runway 31 right, cleared for takeoff. Schönen Flug, tschüss.
Runway 31 right, clear for takeoff, and thank you so much. Have a really good Sunday from Lufthansa Cargo 441.
You too, and enjoy your flight.
Always. Okay, so we're ready to go here. We are cleared onto a runway. As soon as I get cleared onto a runway, I like to let people know we're serious about flying. So strobe lights just are going on. Also on this airplane, I think they call it the high intensities, and those are the flashy lights on the wingtips and on the tail. So everybody knows, hey, this airplane is serious about doing that flying thing. Get ready. And we're pretty much all set and ready to go here. Let's come on down here, and we're going to go to engines on the instruments. And all of that is looking good. Checklists are done. And we'll just take the main runway here. Big old airplane. We'll take as much runway as we possibly can use. Nobody's on approach right now. Otherwise, I'd probably be moving a little faster like I've got a purpose. It's early in the day right now, so not a lot of ATC, but it's so cool to find. I think Gatwick has got ATC right now, and so does here at Cologne and Bonn, so that made perfect for flying here today. Okay, let's start our turn around here. Now then, you know, some of these airports, there's a taxiway on both sides of the runway. Not all of them, of course. This one, there isn't one. But I don't usually like to turn on my landing lights until I'm pointed down the runway. Because if you're somebody's over there on the other side of the runway holding, and you turn on your landing lights, you're going to blind them. They're bright. And so I just treat all runways as, you know, there's a plane sitting over there, so I'm not going to turn on my taxi lights until I'm pointed down the runway. Landing lights, I mean. And that looks good. Throttle's going up about halfway. This airplane will automatically start your elapsed timer. Engines are stable, so we'll push them up even further. Auto throttle should kick in, and thrust is set. Airspeed's going up. There is 100 knots. Numbers are sometimes really, really small to see. And V1 hands off the throttles now and rotate. Positive rate of climb, gears going up. What a cool airplane. So we got our clearance out of here. That's looking really pretty good. And we're going to center up our flight directors. And there is flaps retract. We're almost there. We are speeding up a little bit. Flight directors are centered up fairly nice. Flaps retract, so let's go do flaps. Let's see if we can do the autopilot. Sometimes Betty doesn't let you do that quite this early, but we're going to be busy here. So that looks good, and Betty's going to let us do this, and you can see everything up here is pink, so we're in profile mode. 122.8 is going to be our departure frequency, so it's going to be fairly quiet on the way out. 122.8 is good. That looks good, and we're ready to go. Out we go. Let's make the map a little bit bigger. And one of the other things I should have done was come down here and switch the transponder to above. That means that TCAS is looking ahead and above as we climb. And there is 5,000 feet, and it's going to handle our 5,000 feet just fine on the departure. Remember, we had a departure constraint going out. So 5,000 feet was what we were told. Altitude. Betty is still flying with us today too. Altitude. Thanks, Betty. Let's go ahead and climb and maintain 14,000 feet. Altitude. I'm going to just dial in 14. Altitude. 8, 9, come on, 14,000 feet. Now there's 16. I love how it just seems to know where you're going, and then it jumps massively. So 14,000 feet, and the airplane is still climbing, and slats retract. So we're past slats retract. You get busy in these airplanes. And then I'm going to come down here, and with those going up, I'm going to change my dial flap setting to 15. I try to remember to do it now because I usually forget. And I kind of think I like to have that there. Okay, 15,000. Our climb is continuing. You can see we got slats extend and gear extend in green. Boy, those are really helpful. And our climb is going really good. And ATC now says climb and maintain flight level 320. So we'll just continue the climb since we're in Unicom mode. And that's it. I think that the biggest thing that I wanted to do with this video today was mostly to show you this CPDLC. Now, if there was still ATC, we could have gone to the ATC index and we could have done, let's see, menu and ACARS and Enroute And let's see, where is the login page? That's clearance. Enroute, where's login? Maybe it's in pre-flight. Departure, flight log, free text. Nope, not there. Maybe we got to go and do this other way. Maybe this is the back door. So ref, okay, ATC com, and ATC index. Okay, this is how we would do this. I guess this is where we would log in up here. And so if there was ATC, if Langen radar was up or something like that, and they would actually give us, instructions: climb and maintain, descend and maintain. And they've been using that a lot in Europe in VATSIM. And wow, does it, first of all, it cuts down a lot of people chatting away on the radio. But number two, it just makes it go so much faster. Really hope that VATSIM USA starts to use that. Let's make the map a little bit bigger now. And there is the 40-mile range. If we were also on VATSIM at the moment, we would probably be getting some direct twos, because boy, they try to move you out of the area quick. And we're coming up on the end. So there's the Norvnik VOR, I think. And so out we come here, out going over the Norvnik airport. Looks like that's mostly a military field. And we're going to just continue on out here. We'll do a little flight tracking with this. And out we go. There's 15,000 feet. I did forget transition. So altimeters, standard. And there we go. And out we go. We're going to come over here. I usually go to the progress page here. And this basically tells us where we are. Runway 26 left. We got 289 miles to go to get to Gatwick. Our estimated fuel on board when we land is 18.8. We got plenty of fuel to do our flight. And out we go. A nice day for flying in Germany today, too. It's a little bit earlier. There was a big line of showers and thunderstorms. We're getting ready to move into, let's see, where were those showers and thunderstorms coming from? I think that was going to be mostly over in Hanover. EDDH, not Hanover. Oh, Hamburg, not Hanover. Yeah, the big line getting ready to go into in there. Let's see if it's still going on. So this is radar. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at all that. So there's Hanover right there. There's big area. So stormy up there. The stormy stuff's going to leave us alone pretty much as we head out over the North Sea and coming on into the channel just above Gatwick here. A stormy day in the neighborhood there. So my guess is probably some bigger thunderstorms. I don't know if that's strong enough to fire off any tornadoes, but they're starting to get tornadoes in Europe a lot more than usual. And this looks good. And that looks great. So trying to find CPDLC on this airplane is not as intuitive. But again, look in the link below, and that's going to tell you all the cool things you know about where to find CPDLC, and it works like a charm. Oh, I forgot to do my after takeoff items. It's not a checklist in this, but after takeoff items, auto brakes off, and just go ahead and click your speed brakes, disarmed. There we go. And all of this looks good. So we probably got about 45 minutes or so of flying time. Generally what I like to do is nothing really big's going to happen here. I am going to update the weather. Let's also do a quick check of the big VATSIM map. So here we all were here at Cologne. And as we come on out here, there's our airplane as it is right now. So we're just going to come to the south of Langen radar here. So we're probably not going to get beeped by Langen radar. Let's see what's going on over here. EGKK, so you can see the Gatwick director is up. That's probably our next ATC that we're going to get. They've been online for 3 minutes. We could also look over here at Gatwick and we could do their latest ATIS. And the Gatwick ATIS is 36 minutes old. Let's see, runway in use is 26 left. That's the one we've planned for. Weather looks like it's going to be good. So we're probably going to have to start ourselves down on our own descent. That's good. And then get ready to get beeped for Gatwick. They've also got ground and tower. So that's what's going on for our flight at this point. And out we go. So usually what I'll do is about 100 miles before top of descent, if you're flying along with me, punching the same buttons that I am, then usually what I'll do is wait until we get to top of descent, which will show up in here. And the top of descent hockey stick will show there. Basically, this is the 20-mile range. Let's go and make it a little bigger. And we'll turn off all the airports. This is 80 miles. And let's increase that another one. This is 140 miles. So what I'll do is, let's say 80 miles for top of descent. So that means if you've got your map radius here. Okay, so there's 80 miles there. Let's decrease it. There's 40 miles. So when your top of descent hockey stick starts to show up in here, that'd be the perfect time to go and start the video. Because I'm going to hit pause on the video and go get a second cup of coffee. Probably could use one right now. And then we'll meet back here when we get 70 to 80 miles from top of descent. That's when we'll start the recording again. The only thing I'll do is monitor the flight. We'll level off at our final cruising altitude. And that's really about all that I'll do. I will check the weather once more, and that's it. So, let's see. Go outside, enjoy the views. That's the other cool thing. The views outside this, any of the airplanes in the simulator are absolutely fantastic. So we'll see you 70 to 80 miles from top of descent. And there we go. We are at Mach 0.75. And everything looks like it's pretty good. We're about 6 minutes now from our top of descent. So welcome on back. Airplane is still flying. Looks like it's pretty good. If you saw at the very end there, I did forget to turn off my landing lights. Whoops. So forgot that one too. And let's see, I adjusted my speed just a little bit here. So we were going a little slow. I picked up the speed to about Mach 0.886. Yes. So, well, it says 806 there. So that's an 806, not 886. But that's one of the things I really like about this airplane. It moves like it's got a purpose. I really do enjoy it. So stuff that I've gone and done is I've checked a little bit of weather here. And in fact, we are going to EGKK. Here's the ATIS. Let's click it. So Gatwick information, kilo. Runway is 26 left. That's what we're planning for. Transition level, 7,500 feet. Winds are 280 at 8 knots. Visibility's nice. Altimeter is 1012. Departing aircraft, acknowledge receipt of. All that looks really, really good. Okay, so we got that information aboard. The next thing that we can go and do here is we can look at the map and see what's changed here in the exciting world of VATSIM. So let's see. First of all, our airplane, we are just over Brussels. So yeah, Brussels, EBBR. Yeah, so we're just coming over the Brussels airport here as we get ready to start our descent. For Gatwick, we still have the Gatwick director up, and that frequency is 126.825. So unless we have a bigger controller, let's go ahead and get that ready to go. If you can plan ahead with your frequencies, boy, is that nice. So 126.825. 126.825. There we go. And over here, so EGK 126.825. We've also going to get tower, and tower is 124.230. So let's go and listen in, and let's go ahead and dial the tower on the other side. 124.230. 124.230. Again, this is just really nice planning ahead. And this airplane, you can see, does make you a little, keep you busy. So if you can go and pre-dial in some numbers, wow, is that a great thing to do. Big thing that on my to-do list of learning is using different comm frequencies. So using different instead of just this one, so I guess different radios. So a smart thing to do is me learning to be able to go over on VHF2 and set in the ground control. Again, you can preset a whole line of frequencies. I just have to learn to do that a little bit better. We're at our final cruising altitude, 32,000 feet. Everything's good. Top of descent hockey sticks coming up. And you can see it's about 50 miles away. How did I find this top of descent here? So for this one, there's the progress page. There's nothing really there. But if you go and hit performance, it's going to put you in econ cruise mode, and that says you 47 miles to top of descent. We're going to start our descent before we're talking to ATC, so we're going to have to clear ourselves to our initial descent. And generally the way I like to do this is, first of all, we're going to come up here to edit, and we're going to get rid of the departure airport charts. It just clears everything here in the stack of charts. We're coming in on the Barmy arrival, the TEBRA arrival, I mean. So here at TEBRA, no altitude, but flight level 140 at Abtum. Now we're supposed to end up at flight level 070 here. So we could go and put in 7,000 feet. Chances are we're going to have to change that when we get beeped by ATC. So let's just go ahead and get that ready to go right now. So I'm going to dial in my 7,000 feet. Altitude. Betty is still flying with us. That's a good thing to know. So I'm going to put in 7,000 feet. That would be the equivalent of us being cleared to descend on the TEBRA arrival, Gatwick landing west. Kind of a deal. Okay, now all of these are pink here, so we're not going to descend until we get to our top of descent, but it's going to take care of that automatically, which is pretty cool. The airplane will also, on NAVRAD, about, I think it's 25 miles out, it will auto-tune your frequency, but it's always a good idea to check that if you possibly can. So back over here to performance, and now let's go ahead and have a look at the performance page for our arrival. Okay, so over here we know we're going to be coming in on runway 26 left. So let's get 26 left. Up there we go, 26 left. It's dry. We can get weather information. 10, 12, 23, 280 at 8. Let's see, was that pretty much what we got? Let's see, runway in use, 280 at 8. Yep, that's correct. So there's our weather information. The aircraft is, landing weight. We got to put a number in. So let's see here. What do we have over here on the performance page for landing? Do we have a landing weight here? Econ, no, I don't see anything. Let's look at takeoff and approach. Clean minimum. Landing weight, 204.8. So we can come in here, 204.8. Okay, so there's kilos there. Auto brakes are going to be low. Reversers work. We'll do flaps 35 and calculate. Nothing happened. I bet we got to go and do 204.800. Whoops, got to delete it. 204.800. Let's see how that works for a calculation. Aha! So you got to put in a big number there, not just the little decimalized number. Okay, so it gives us an idea for auto brakes low, reversers on, flaps 35 landing, stopping distance, estimated landing distance is 2,234 meters. We're going to use what? Between 1/2 and 2/3 of the runway. Should be good. So let's come over here. Auto brakes are going to be minimum. And we'll preset that one. That looks really good. And all of this looks good. How about minimums for the landing? That's something we got to set. And we can find that over here. And on the final approach, minimums are 396 feet. So 396. This thing's over on RA, radar altimeter, so Barrow. We'll click that over there. And we're going to change it now to 396. Okay, so that's 200. So we got to just sit here and crank. Wish there was a faster way. It's just, you know, crank the little nose wheel kind of a deal. So there's 250. Let's see if shift crank goes faster. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. There's 300. So shift and crank. 320. 330. I don't think the shift is doing any faster. 350, 360, 370, 380. We want 396. That's 385. There's 391, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 396, right? Good. So that's set. Our minimums are set for landing. Ooh, we're getting closer to our top of descent. Let's bring the map in a clip. That's obviously a good thing to do. Oh, and the other thing for us to do is to come back down here. And I forgot to do this. Let's take this and go to neutral or normal or straight ahead on the transponder. I don't see any airplanes ahead. Since we're getting ready to do our descent, let's go and do below. Okay, so that's just all set, and that's going to give us TCAS straight ahead and below, so that's good news. And we're really close to our top of descent here on performance. We are no miles away. We're 7 miles away, no minutes, so it's almost time, and the airplane will descend itself. We'll watch the throttles pull back a little bit. We'll get a descent deviation indicator here, I believe, on the map. That's going to let us know if we're high and low on the descent. Get ready for speed brake action on these two. That's kind of the way those things happen. And keep on going. All right, our descent deviation gauge has shown up, and we've started our descent. So looking good so far. Weather radar is off. I don't think we need any. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood in the UK. So now over on my moving map, I'm going to go over here to Barmy, and we'll keep an eye. And there's our airplane. Oh, we're just going, just crossing the channel, where I actually think that this is considered more of the North Sea at this point. Channel is more of the skinny part. There's a little bit of the beach under there. Can't see an awful lot today. Just a fabulous airplane, though. Really am enjoying this this one for sure. There's a lot more to do in the airplane. Now, if you're also looking for an airplane that's even more study level, the Phoenix A320 and the new PMDG 777, both are amazing airplanes. Absolutely love those. Betty is still aboard. All right, we're going to start listening in as we're getting closer to the channel. So we're going to start listening in there. Let's do cabin signs. If there's anybody back there, they should now start thinking about cleaning up the galley and sitting down. Yep, they have 2 seats and a galley back there, which I think is kind of nice. And that looks good. And so when they beep us, we're going to tell them that we're descending on the TEBRA to Gulf Arrival, and we're going to come over here and EGKK. We have information Kilo still aboard. So that's what we'll say when we get beeped. And we can sit back and enjoy a sip of coffee. That would be nice.
Again, at the 517, Gatwick director, hello, climb now, flight level 1 at 50.
It's getting kind of hot, so I'm kind of letting, not using the heated mug as much in the summertime. Letting it kind of chill out just a little bit is nice. It's only 75 right now, but it's also pretty hazy and smoky outside, so perfect weather for flight simming with friends. Hey, now's a pretty good time for me to do all those things that YouTubers say and say thank you so much for watching. I really hope that these videos are helping out as we try and figure out how to, you know, navigate these incredibly complex or increasingly complex airplanes in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Let's see. While I do claim to have a private pilot's license, flying small airplanes, Cessna 152, 172, and a Cardinal, not anything bigger than that. So not an airline pilot or anything, but I have been flight simming for a long time. So what I'm trying to do with these videos is not necessarily do it the right way versus the wrong way, but what works in the sim. And as the airplanes get better, we're going to start doing it the way they really do it in the real airplanes, which is the ultimate goal. But you do have to kind of cut some corners every now and then and do other things. So that's kind of what it is that I'm doing with these videos. I do hope you'd like them. Still pretty small and growing here on YouTube, so the likes and shares sure do help. If you feel like subscribing, that would be nice too. If you like it a little bit more, there's the usual Ko-fi links and other things like that below, and that would be definitely appreciated. Or come on over and join us on Twitch. We do group flights. Every flight is a flight that you can fly along with us. Most of our flights are on VATSIM these days. But we also do, like our first flight later on today that we'll do on Twitch, is going to be the Greek Island Hop, and that's just going to be multiplayer for us, so we'll be having a good time doing that. Let's see, the other stuff that we got going on is there's also a morning weather briefing that I do, weather and flight plan briefing over on Patreon. Links are all below, and I appreciate the support there too. Okay, did I do all the things that the YouTubers are supposed to do? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we'll just continue the flying and consider all that stuff done. We are coming up here on TEBRA. And my guess is, as we get closer to TEBRA, we're going to get ready to hear the beep beep sound from VATSIM, and that'll be the contact me. And we'll also see a little bit of a notice that pops up here, but we're already listening, so that's the good news. We do have ground at Gatwick and also tower at Gatwick, so we'll have full ATC for our landing, which is going to be nice. Clouds have definitely increased. And we're right on our descent, so that looks good too. 14,000 feet after TEBRA at Abtub, so that's good too. Let's see how we are doing in comparison with their green zone here. So here we are way up here. After we come up over this point here, we're going to take our dive to the south. So it's going to be a while before we get beeped here. So we're going to come up here and get a waypoint, come over this little bit of land, and down we go, and then we'll get our beeping. So we've got a fair amount of descending to do. Could be we may make it all the way down to 7,000 feet. Transition level is 7,500. Yeah, it says so in their ATIS. Really having the, this is how we talk on VATSIM if you haven't seen it yet. This is vPilot. Having this open on a monitor right off to the side really does help out a lot. First of all, it helps us know, what's ahead. Is there tower? Is there ground? Is there delivery? But also you could put the ATIS right over here, and that ATIS just pops right in. It's so nice. And that you can easily reference it. So over on the other monitor, I've got the vPilot, but then the only other thing I have is Navigraph charts. And you could come over here and you could put charts in here. So let's see, my charts, I got to sign into those, so we won't worry about those. It's not the best chart setup on that one. The one over on the PMDG 777 is really, really nice, though. I definitely like that one for sure. Looks like we're about ready to go feet dry here. So we are just about ready to go across the shoreline. We'll also be making our turn to the southwest here any second now. There goes the turn. And we get to kind of look just over here and have an incredible view, which is just really nice. And if we were doing this flight in the real world, because of the satellite photography in Microsoft Flight Simulator and, the reasonable facsimile of real world weather, this is what it would look like. Which is just sort of like, wow, next best thing to actually getting to go flying, right? At Abtub, we were supposed to be at 14,000 feet. We are at 14,200 at the worst, so we're right where we're supposed to be. Our descent deviation shows us pretty good. And descent deviation, if you don't know what I mean by that, that's this little pink diamond on this big graph. EGKK approach just beeped us, so let's call in and say hello. Gatwick Director, very good afternoon from Lufthansa Cargo 441 and MD11, descending on the TEBRA 2 Gulf arrival with information Kilo.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, Gatwick Director, very good afternoon, sir. You can descend flight level 100, it's landing 26 left, no delay, and fly radar heading 255.
Okay, descending now to flight level 100, and our new heading is 255 degrees for Lufthansa Cargo 441 for runway 26 left. 255. So we're going to go over here. 255. So we just got vectors. We just blew off most of the approach. That happens. And 255 is our heading.
Going director, hello, it's landing 26 left, there is no delay. You'll be number 2 in the sequence. You can continue descent, flight level.
And our descent is looking pretty good here.
Direct Willow.
And 11,000 feet, pretty good. Let's see, we do have a couple of checklists that we can run. We have an approach and a landing checklist. And generally we would do that around transition.
35 Juliet, surface winds 280 degrees, 8
and a nice little turn over here.
This is bus clear line, sorry Julia.
The view outside of these old MDs has got to be so incredibly cool. I think it's some of the biggest windows you're going to find in the cockpit of any commercial jetliner. You do sit way forward, though, of that nose gear, so that had to have been kind of weird to learn that type of steering. And you can see just how much of this we've blown off here on the arrival. There's 10,000 feet. That's where we're going to stop at 10,000 feet. I mean, we're just pointed right for the runway right now. Should be a nice visual approach too, which is they've been working really hard on this airplane, the developers had.
441, descend to altitude 6,000 feet to QNH 1012. You've got 44 track miles.
Descend 6,000 feet right now. Altimeter is, I wrote it down, but reading it is another matter here.
The QNH is 1012.
1012 on the altimeter. Thank you so much for Lufthansa Cargo 441. Jeez, terrible. 1012.
Griffin 8 Hotel Zulu, descend flight level
1012, we got it. Okay, so descend 6,000 miles. And actually, I really wasn't writing it. What I was doing was looking through all this. Where's the altimeter? Is it? Oh, there it is, right there. So I just couldn't see it in that sea of green.
Director, hello, behind the landing, British Airways 737 on a 2-mile final.
We're a little on the fast side right now, but our speed is coming down. Probably ought to throw out our speed brakes to get us to 250. Okay, and now we're good for slats extend. So slats extend is going out. I'm going to arm my speed brakes also for landing as we get ready here. And the approach checklist is system modes.
441. There is no ATC speed restriction.
No ATC speed restrictions for Lufthansa Cargo 441. Yay! So warp factor 10. And there's also, we're below flaps 15. So that's why I set my flaps 15. And there's flaps 15. Big flaps behind this airplane, but it's a big old metal airplane, so there you go. I'm also going to go ahead and take control of my own speed now, and we're going to go to 240. This thing goes awfully fast, so I'm going to put 240 in, and now let's come on down here, and we're going to go to takeoff and approach. A flaps 35 landing is going to be VAP is 162, plus 1 is 163. And all of that looks good. and descending to 6,000 feet. And all of this looks pretty good. So far, so good, right? Over here on our big map, you can see how much of the star we've blown off. We've blown off the transition to. So there's the Mayfield VOR. Back on this page, there was Mayfield there to give you an idea of where we are. What I usually do at this point is we're pretty well all set. So I'm going to zoom this map all the way in, and this is going to be my ground chart for when we get on the ground.
121.805, bye-bye.
11805,
Tower is gone, so 121.805 is our next frequency. 121.805. Tower called it a day. Probably saw some spies were coming.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, turn right heading 265 degrees, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
Right turn now to 265 degrees and descend to 4,000 feet for Lufthansa Cargo 441. The thing about this airplane is you set the number and then execute it. That's actually kind of nice in a way. Ground 121.805.
Griffin 8 Hotel Zulu, you've got 35 track miles,
121.805.
5,000 feet, the QNH 1012.
That's going to be our ground off the runway. 121.805. Okay, that looks pretty good there too. Looks like we're getting nicely set up for the approach. I'm keeping my speed up. We've still got a ways out here, so...
Easy 74 Mike Quebec, report the passing altitude. Climb now, flight level 180.
Another thing to do is check your final ILS plate. And the final ILS plate says IWW1109 and 257. IWW, we're 24 miles out here. And if you look at NavRad, you'll see all of that's in there, and the real pilots are going to verify that too. So that's good news. And we are now 23 miles out. My next speed is going to be 210. 210. I've got glide slope and localizer. We're starting to pick that up now. And we can probably do our next flap setting. Okay, obviously nothing's happening. Everything's frozen right now. We're loading in scenery.
Cargo 441 on that heading when you establish the localizer, runway 26 left, descend glide slope.
Okay, when we're established, descend on the glide slope for Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Monitor vertical speed.
Clear of conflict.
Flaps.
Griffin 8 Hotel Zulu, speed 220 knots, descend to altitude 4,000 feet.
Gonna need some speed brake to get there. Let's do landing gear. We're getting close. Things happen fast in this airplane.
Griffin 8 Hotel Zulu, turn right to heading 080 degrees.
Speed again is going to be 161 now, so we'll call it 162. Flaps are still rolling out. Since we do have glide slope and localizer, I'm going to hit approach and land. That's going to help set us up on this.
Altitude, climb now, flight level 130.
And we're at flaps 28. We're about ready to go flaps 35. And that's what we're going to make this. I've had trouble with the flaps 50 landings. Never been very nice to me. And generally I'm going to hold 180 knots until I'm going to hold the 180 knots until about 5 miles DME. So there's 10 miles, there's the runway, we're 15 out. Still got a little speed brake out right now. Landing is armed, so all of that's really good. Auto throttle still has us. Now's a great time if you're like me and you kind of scrunch around in your chairs and stuff. Now's the time to make sure you're seated correctly and you can get to all your controls. There's 4,000 feet, looking pretty good.
And Lufthansa Cargo 441, slight track adjustment heading 275 and descend to altitude 3,000 feet, and you can continue with the glide slope.
Okay, heading adjustment, 275 degrees and descend and maintain 3,000 now for Lufthansa Cargo 441, continuing with the glide slope.
Griffin 8 Hotel Zulu, turn left heading 320 degrees.
And there we go. And flaps. Speed brakes, let's put those
274
away.
Mike Quebec, nothing further, Unicorn 1228, bye-bye.
And speed brakes are still armed. You can still use those. Some airplanes you can't. So we still didn't grab the localizer here. Not so bad. Betty is still aboard, and we got all of our wheels out. That's a good thing. And the landing checklist says gear down for green. Auto brakes are set. Spoilers are armed. Flaps are rolling out. The EAD checklist. So the EAD is the little green box here. And that's the EAD engine and alert display. If that little box is there and it's green, life is good. You're in good shape. Hey, look at this. We're making our turn, grabbing that localizer. And we are coming up on 10-mile finals. One last click of the map. And we look out and we see the airport. We're going to be exiting to the right.
Delta, direct Spear.
And it looks like we're grabbing glide slope and localizer. Actually, no. It looks like we are going through the glide slope.
An easy 510 Delta, climb flight
And
level
it looks like it
250.
grabbed it now. Yeah, it grabbed it. So we're good to go there. We're busy with ATC. No shame in
turn left heading 290 degrees.
letting the airplane fly the airplane while you're setting up. Coming up on 5-mile finals. Speed 162 to land, so I'm going to preset 162.
Hotel Zulu, left turn heading 290 degrees, and on that heading, when you establish localizer, descend
162, looking good. I think it's about time to start flying the airplane. I'm going to take my physical throttles and roll them about halfway down, but the auto throttle still has us.
Delta, Unicorn 1228, bye-bye.
Looking good.
Easy 402, at level 105, direct to
5-mile finals. Landing speed.
2 stations at once, break easy, 510 Delta, Unicorn 122.8, bye-bye. Lufthansa Cargo 441, contact Gatwick Tower 124.230, bye-bye.
124.230 for Lufthansa Cargo 441, thanks. Wow, tower popped back on. 124.230. So this is where it gets awkward, is tuning your radio while you're landing. Especially with this airplane, you can see we're in a bit of a dive.
Glide slope.
So that got a little awkward, but that will happen. Gatwick Tower, hello from Lufthansa Cargo 441 on the ILS for runway 26 left.
Lufthansa 441, Gatwick Tower, good evening. Surface wind 280 degrees, take north, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Glide slope.
26 left, clear to land. Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Glide slope.
Steward 187, no aggression contact, Gatwick Director 126, F 825, cheers.
Glide slope.
12685,
121.805.
Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Okay, we're set. We got all of our radios set. Now we can concentrate on this. This is, by the way, the freeware Gatwick, which is absolutely amazing freeware scenery. They've done such a good job with this scenery. I mean, Gatwick and Frankfurt are some of the most amazing freewares you're going to find. Little low, landing. Going for some butter here, slowly moving my physical throttles down, but the auto throttle won't disengage until about 10 feet or so.
Glide slope. 40, glide slope. 30, glide slope. 20,
10.
Reversers. Welcome to Gatwick. Little bit of thrust there. Okay, landing lights going off. Actually, I don't think I ever got them on.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, welcome to Gatwick. Second right, Juliet, hold short Tango.
Second right is Juliet, then we hold short of Tango for Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, correct. Contact Gatwick ground now, 121.805, cheers.
Decimal 805 for Lufthansa Cargo 441. Cheers. Gatwick ground. Hello from Lufthansa Cargo 441 on Juliet. We're going to the cargo apron tonight.
Lufthansa Cargo 441, Gatwick ground. Hello. Just to make sure, stand 150 is fine with you.
150 works for Lufthansa Cargo 441.
Okay, then Lufthansa Cargo 441, taxi to stand 150 via Juliet, Sierra and Lima.
Taxi to stand 150 between with Juliet, Sierra, and Lima for Lufthansa Cargo 441. Okay, auto brakes can go off. That looks good. Our landing rate was a -403. That seems a little bit big, but you know, this is a big heavy jet. I was a touch early on my landing, right in the middle though, so I feel like not such a bad landing. Okay, so we are on Juliet. Next thing is going to be Sierra. So we're looking for taxiway Sierra. This is one of those airports that's going to have all sorts of good information. So after landing items, disconnected there. Let's go ahead and get our flaps up. Flaps and slats going up. And let's see, Juliet, Sierra is our next one. And thrust to idle here. Juliet, Sierra, and Lima. Okay, this is uniform. That's not what we want. And that's Tango. We don't want Tango. So Juliet, Sierra. And I'm just looking here at my moving map here. So there's uniform. There's Tango. It's got to be coming up here next, right? And that's the big cargo zone over there. So we're probably right where we're supposed to be. Let's see, I forgot to do strobes off the runway. So we're going to do that. We don't need to turn on the APU. Sierra, next turn. It says right there on the map. And we're looking for 150. And remember, on this airplane, you've got you're sitting very far ahead of your nose wheel. So you're going to turn. It's going to be kind of a late turn. And about 10 knots for the turn. And you'll see as I make my turn, my nose wheel is just going absolutely nuts there. There's Sierra. And I bet Tango's the one all the way at the end. Juliet, Sierra, and Lima is going to be the one at the end. And we're looking for stand 150. Okay, there's 170, so that looks pretty good. Now, one of the things that's pretty cool about this airplane is if you do have GSX, There's a nice GSX profile that will unload your airplane and make it look really, really good. So that's really nice. Let's see, we don't need TEBRA on, so we could turn that off as well. And there is 175, 174, and we'll keep going and look for Lima. And then there's Sierra, there's Lima. And we're looking for stand 150. Okay, and the paint on the taxiway is so nice. Okay, there's that. And here's our turn over here on Lima. There's more parking. Oh, they got a big old building right there. Oh, there's a big hangar for EasyJet. Looks like a temporary hangar that they just popped in there. There is 152. I bet 150 is going to be coming up right after 151. Isn't it great the way math works? There's the really cool bridge. And some of the terminals are nicely modeled here at Gatwick too. So that's really nice. And look at that, 150. So there's 150 there. And my guess is we want 150M, the one in the middle. Oh wow, we got a nice little sign up here too. I don't know if we'll actually get some guidance going in, but that's nice. As we come on up here, nose lights going off so you don't blind the ground crew. And I think we made it. So let's see, today on the spy flight over on Twitch, we're going to be flying in the Greek islands. That is one of my absolute favorite places to fly. And hope you can join us over there. It's the same as here on YouTube, 757 Spy. Hope you can join us. We're going to be doing the A320, the ATR, and I think the PMDG 777 is what we're flying on that. My guess is that would be the spot right there for us. All of our wing tips and tails within the work area. So come on down here. Parking brake goes on. Let's also get off, stop squawking. And then engine number 1 and engine number 3 can go off here. Nose lights are all good and off. And then we'll come over here to services, and they're going to put in the wheel chocks, and they're going to put in the ground power unit. We'll come up here and punch the ground power unit into the system. Then we can go and turn off engine number 2. That way we don't have to waste anything with the any fuel with the APU. And there comes the door open. So there's the door. Here comes the big cargo door. Now, this airplane's also gotten really good so that you could stay on VATSIM like we are right now, and you could go and you could do a second flight. So what you'd have to do is go to the payload page, go to the perf page, go to the chart. Is it payload? Services, charts. Oh, wait a minute. That's the other airplane. How do we unload this thing? Go back. I think all you do is just go back. I'm not sure. I thought that there was an unloading page here. It isn't this. Oh, I'm thinking about the A310. That's right. So I think all you would do is the airplane stays loaded, and all you would do is just file your next flight plan and then reload the airplane that way, and that would be it. Maybe one of the things we could do is for 0 fuel weight, we could go just put in 0s and 0s, and that would take care of it. Would that clear it all out for us? Set payload. Let's see. Load is at 9%. Did that unload it? Yeah, oh yeah, that did. So that way you could unload your airplane too. And there we go. We did it. Thank you so much for flying along. I hope you are having as much fun with Flight Simulator as we are. It's continuing to grow. These airplanes get better and better. And now that VATSIM has got CPDLC going, holy moly, that's just really raising the bar in terms of it's so as real as it gets without having to walk through security. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you are having a really great week or weekend. We'll see you in the friendly sim skies over on Twitch. In the meantime, stay healthy and stay safe. We'll see you soon. Cheers.